Good evening, guys. It's a 5 p.m. Today is August 2nd, right? So it's a roller coaster ride today. But so hunting levels are the key today. So there's preferred buyers and sellers level and July 31st RTH low, right? So which was, I think it was 97, right? So and it was all about 97 today, you know. And preferred levels which was 80-81 in ES, right? And NQ was around, I think 818 or 840 or something, but basically they held it, so buyers held it actually, and sellers tried to break it below, so sellers were active too, so today is a test for sellers to see whether they can get closing below hunting levels or above it today, right? Either closing below or above. So closing came below hunting levels, for ES. For NQ it came in between, or right around at the bottom hunting level, so sellers basically held it today, they tried to get a closing below it, but the question is now tomorrow whether the price is going to stay below or go far away, or it's going to go higher, right? So we don't know. So overnight will let us know, Same test for buyers as well as, to get a closing above it. So they failed basically, or I would say they just defended it, So if sellers are in control, then you want them to create an open drive down and then hold it to the open drive, else buyers will be all over the place. This scenario happened, right? So price went down, or did go down, but then, it bounced from this preferred buyers area, right? And then it went higher, all the way up, looks like it wants to go to moon. And then some Fed speakers started talking around 12 to 1 p.m. That's where price came down, right? And then it basically closed right around or below hunting levels, So that was the story in a nutshell today, right? In general, this short-term buyers have full control above 68 to 72, which price came to 80 and bounced today, right? And then, these are the levels, Still, so if price even comes here, still buyers have a control, right? And they actually, sellers have to take it below this, to have more control. So NQ has a similar story, Russell also is still favoring buyers, right? Gold is the good area, right? It was R turned into support, and then today again gold came down below this level. So gold is now, exploring, I would say, ping pong strategy, that is what it is doing. But overall buyers are there above this area, dream number very powerful, as usual. 858, 910, both actually held it for both ways actually, so now let's go here, right? So 858, 910 dream number. So in the morning it was all about dream numbers, right? And this hunting levels, blue lines, right? So in the morning it was all about this and the VWAP players, and so it was tough to trade here, ES was easy. It was because ES usually doesn't move like NQ, right? NQ can have a false breakdowns, right? So NQ was tough to trade, so NQ I did like 4 or 5 trials. ES I just did one, so since 07, so this was a preferred sellers area, right? So in the morning when price went higher, right, right here, right in the pre-market, right at the opening, right, and then it came down, immediately I shorted it. First time I did shorted here, and then I cut it, and then immediately when it came down I again shorted it, and then price went down, so I held ES with stop above this, and then NQ was doing back and forth, up and down, right? But ES was not able to go above this, so I decided to hold ES, and then I let go NQ couple of times, so I had a loss, like 4 or 5 losses, in NQ, actually 4 losses. Couple of times actually I shorted it, so I used this dream number to short it, so I knew that 850 has a buyers in it, right? But then my target was lower, at least up to up to this area somewhere. Actually I was eyeing this 755, 745. For ES I was eyeing at least this preferred buyers area and potentially lower, because sellers, today was a decision time for sellers to show something, right? And the way it kept down, and then 80 was lower, everything was lower, right? And this was the key area. And remember, if you remember yesterday's note, I said below this area sellers, right? Same thing for NQ also. If you look at it, NQ was actually open right within that area, hold on, man, see here, so this line, right, blue line. So and what I saw was this, blue line was broken, price was holding below, holding below, holding below, right? So it makes sense to short in NQ, right? So dream numbers are the good areas, right? So I started shorting here, so now you know why I shorted it, right? Because I already gave you the hint day before, opens below it, sellers could be in control, right? So yesterday's, it was all depends on yesterday's price action, right? All the idea. And then it closed below this, see here, entire night it traded below this, right? So that's why I made this as a preferred sellers area, line in sell, right? And then so ES responded, correct, after a buy, but then due to this up and down, there were a lot of buyers, and ES was randomly people were randomly buying it here, like 94, 95, 96, even this 90s held it, and even here also people try to buy it, like people are fear of missing out more, So an NQ was like consistently holding this CVVAC, right? So despite knowing that, I was discussing this in Discord, that NQ is consistently holding these things, I kept shorting it at 910, just because of ES was holding it, So first time it went, and every time it went into my favor, few points, but I decided that my target was this, So, and today was the chance for sellers. So I got stopping, it just stopped me out, every time, So one I shorted here, then again it went higher, okay, so then I did not do anything. Again it came back down below 910, I shorted it. Again I got stopped out, again I shorted it. Again I got stopped out, again I shorted it. Because ES was holding it, So, man, I got a phone call in between. Okay, so now I forgot the link. But so that was the idea here, okay, so now I forgot the link, so I kept shorting it 910 here just because of ES was holding below this levels, the key levels, and that was a preferred sellers area. So when it touched here, I was happy that it will now tank, because now by this time all these buyers who bought it here, at least the morning buyers, right, from here, they were all trapped, and price should have gone down because the internals were down, AD was tanking, it was down, but the only issue was AD was stopped going down here. See, if you look at it, AD stopped going down while price was moving down. Somebody was defending this area, that means people were buying stocks, and that is what is going on here, right? But still I said, what, since this momentum is holding below, AD will give up later on, and then NQ also gave up, right? It was holding this 877, this area basically, so it gave up this area, right? And then I was like, good amount of profit at that point, I recovered all the losses from NQ here, and ES I only had one trade anyway. And then actually ES there was another trade also here. It was a bearish divergence, here, see that first time AD was here, second time it was here, so this was a bearish AD divergence. Actually I called it out also this in Discord, so this was a short in ES, right? And then price came down here, but the moment it touched this 80, right, within the same bar, it came back up and closed above 90, this area, see, so right above this, right? So it looks like a failed breakdown to me, and while AD was not going down, right, so I cut it, so ES I cut it, majority contract here, right? I didn't like these things, and the way NQ went below this 850, right, and then the moment it came back up and closed right here, see, right above it, this thing I either also don't like it, so I didn't either one like it, so I cut it, both of them, right? But then NQ I cut it 100%. Yes, I still held at least 20% of the position, right? But then when ES went above because ES was holding below 97, yesterday's low, right? So then when it went above, it came back down. That's where I bailed out, and that's where I assumed that it's totally a failed breakdown. Looks like buyers are coming back, right? But still 4100, I said 4100 is to hold below as a backup, like 97 plus 4 point or something, and NQ has to hold below this or 910, right? Because 910 was the level that I still defended it. So 910, as long as it is below 910, sellers have a control, but then how it is holding below it afterwards, in this section, that is important, right? So if you look at it in ES, right, so let me zoom it out here. So here, right, so here I build out 100% right here, right. Now I'm flat. Then I was thinking what to do now, right. So here I was watching this area, then it went below 97 again, right. So here it has to hold below it, the moment it went above it, and then it went above 4100, it reached to this high again, right. And if you, this time if you look at AD was totally upward. See, first time it was here, second time it was here, right. So now these stocks are pushing the price higher, that is how I did it, so now I know I have to go long now, because now these guys are trapped. Whoever sold it here, like me, right, I was out, but those guys who are holding it, they are now trapped. There was an intraday balance also here. See, if you look at it like this, and now we have a breakup, right. NQ also same thing. It did not, see, first time here even 910 they sold it, right. So here I was thinking, okay, fine, it should now go below, but instead it held this dream number, right. So this number, dream numbers are very powerful again, right. Dream number to dream number, see that. But then this guy again held it here, held it, again breakout, right, attempt, then again came down, then held it, then 877 again started holding it, see that. That's where I went long here at around 1042 or so. Here also same time, basically I used that 4100 to go long, and then I was hoping that now it will just go and fill the gap, because usually people do that, all the time, right? And 4120 is my favorite area anyway, right. So I targeted that area, right. So for this long, and NQ by the time, it touched this blue line, so I built up, right. After that, I took another long, not here, because I didn't like the way it came down, right. So I didn't take this long, AD was still holding below zero line, right. So I did not take this long, right. But then when it came back up, right, so basically it held this area, and this 410705 area again it held it, which is this, right. So here technically you can go long here, right. This preferred seller's area, line in sand, becomes the buyer's area now, right, because it broke up, right. So you can technically go long here, right. But I choose not to do it, because the way price behave in the morning, both sides were active, right, and this was like boom, straight up, right. So price can come down too, so I wait for confirmation, I waited. So then it went higher like this, right, and then mini balance, it was holding it, right. Now at that time it was holding above yesterday's close even. See this area, if I move it here, you can see it, see these things. So then I initiated a long here. At that time momentum was now started holding above zero line, plus 600s, right. AD was trying to go higher here, see that. So now that's the long, around same time I also initiated long in NQ also, right here, and then I build out here, and then I build out here also. 3750 is our important levels, right. So build out, because by the time it was straight up again, right. So and then that's it pretty much, after that I just played sim account back and forth, so I took one long here, right, because it was flush down into this area. Intraday we have made all this 12 area, so I took this long, and at the same time I took the long in NQ also here, right. But then immediately I cut it the moment price went down. At this point Fed speakers were talking, right, but still I took it because the way it came down, right. But then here I built up. That was a sim account trade. Then I know at this point, either it's gonna hold it or go through it. If it goes through it, it's going to go down all the way towards this low, So 870 in NQ and 87 in ES, that is, those are the two levels I said, those are the pending sellers target, when price was here I said that. So when it came down here and sliced through this, I know most likely it's gonna go towards that, right. But when was the question, ideally it should have gone down right here, but it did not, right. So I was watching, but at that point I know the moment it broke below it, I know I have to short, no longs, because the way it reversed all the way down, there are tap buyers right into this area. So I started shorting it, so basically I use these levels, these levels, confirmation based, not the first test. So when let's say price goes here, I did not shorted it, but when it goes down, little bit balance, then I started shorting it, So shorting, profit, short, profit, like this, short, profit, short, profit, you know, like this. So NQ also I did the same thing. I pretty much played levels. I just shorted it, you know. I did not take any longs, you know. I just shorted it, all these lines. I kept shorting it until it gets to that 870. At this move also I captured it, you know, and this move, you know. But then here it held A197. See, this time it broke through it. I even shorted here, you know. Same thing here, I shorted it, you know. But then when it went down, I bailed out, you know, because now it reached this blue line, I bailed out, you know. So, but anyway, so that was the story for indexes today, right? And you know already now why price is doing these things, right? I already explained in pre-market note, when price is in transition phase between short-term buyers, mid-term sellers, you will see this kind of activities. You can choose to sit out, right? Or you can trade in the garbage, right? So now let's talk about Mboxwave today. So let's talk about Mboxwave. So now you have to keep in mind, I am a price action person, right? So I'm contextual person. So I read context first, then I use Mboxwave, right? Just to help the members, right? So, but then I don't use it for personal use per se. I use it sometimes, but no, but this tool is not primary reason for me to go long or short, right? It has to line up with the context, my reading, and if this tool is additional confirmation, you know, I do not use this tool only to go long or short, right? So you have to just keep that idea in mind, right? And when price is choppy, and if I know it's a garbage price action, I do not use it. I do not even open Mboxwave, okay? So, but at least I try to look in the morning, you know, to what's going on, right? So here, these were my levels, you know, all these lines, you know, all these things are my levels, you know. So if you get a chance to, you know, view the previous part of this video, then you know all these levels are important, okay? So what I was watching it in the pre-market, so here, see, once this area I was observing yesterday, you know, and then that was broken down, right? So on the way up, there were shorts there, which makes sense, right? And then this was also levels. When it was broke down, there were people shorted it also here. So that was, I was watching these things, that okay, this 850 people shorted it, this area 890 people shorted it, right? So this 910, see, this was the area 910, right? This one that I kept shorting it today, right? So which I just explained a few minutes ago, right? So now you know why I shorted it, right? So because that was the level, that was my dream number also, right? And this 850 was my dream number also, right? So now price broken below here, right? And then what happened? Immediately price reversed it around 7 o'clock, right? So at least I know there are some trap sellers here, right? And then this area flipped as a buyer's area. See, people try to buy it here. See that this dream number, right? Then what happened? Then there is a double algo here, and then -6, right? So people shorted it here, correct? I was reading these things, right? And then again it went down. Okay, I always get a phone call. Okay, so so here, right? So it turned into a buyer's area, right? And then somebody sold it because of this algo or whatever, right? So but that was a selling activity here, right? At this point, right? See here also there is some selling going on, correct? So and this buying did not achieve anything, correct? And then selling came. So at least we have to assume some sellers are there, right? This is all pre-market I'm talking about. So now you expect that price should stay below this, right? So even there was a short right here, okay? But you can see it here, delta was not enough, but at least price should come back here, right? That was the idea, right? So even somebody shorted it here, but then what happened? Next thing, you know, they got stopped over, right? So basically they got stopped up, right? So I was watching these things, and now price was here again, you know, and then it came down. Right before open, it was right here. So now you know it's a game about 850 or 910, right? So that is what the game was about. But 910 has a less leverage than 850, right? Because 850 has a failed breakdown couple of times. 910, if price goes there, it is essentially breaking out of this area, you know, this lower level. If it breaks down, then chances of 910 holding, it's really up to real-time players, right? But you can still short, which I did it actually, you know. So now you see it. See, first time up 910, somebody shorted it, but then, and you can see it, price even went down, right? But then these buyers, you know, here at the top, they held it. See that? Then price went higher, right? So here you can take a long even, you know, if you want to, you know, because now you can see this thing also coming up, right? Buying. Here also plus 60 at pullback, right? which is a good area, right? So when price was going higher here, you can go long here also, right here, see that? Or you can use this pullback to go long, right? And then you can target upper areas, correct? Then what happened? Then price went higher all the way up to 950, which was also my level, right? Price got rejection from there, right? And then again, then it got rejection. Somebody bought it into this 910, right? And while I shorted it, somebody bought it, right? Then price went higher, 950, right, to the dot, our level, and then it came down. So at this point, it's an indecision. Ideally, if you are a day trader, you should not be doing anything, because now both parties are active, you know. But so, and you can see it, see, again it went down, right? So that's why I was saying you should not be trading. See, I can literally know by this price action. I don't have to even look at further, you know. So no trading, right, until price goes above or below, something like that, right? But I knew, you know, that some sellers are there, and then there are some pending areas that sellers needs to take care of it first, which was 80s, 84 in ES and NQs around 745, you know. So that's why I kept shorting it at 910, 4 shorts, you know, 4 shorts, 3 shorts did not work out, 4th one worked out, and I recovered all the money, all the losses, and I was like almost 5 times profitable, you know. So, and then this one worked out, right? So this short, even again I shorted here, and this one worked out, right? But on the way down, right, so let's say you are not trading, right, but when it goes down, you can see it 81, see. So again there was an imbalance here, right? There was not enough supply, correct? And here also there was not enough selling going on. Yes, there was an imbalance, right, on the way up, but this 81 is not gonna cut it. See, overall from last 10 days buyers are active, so this is the seller's opportunity, you know, to give a good demand, good supply here, but they failed, right? So this imbalance doesn't mean anything. It's gonna skyrocket the price, because now 5th time or 3rd time, see, it's failed to break below 850, right, this level. So that's why now buyers jump on board right from here, see, and then you can see it all the way up, right? So, and this was also my level, right? So this is where I bailed out. So I went long right here, okay? So, and then here also I went long actually, because at that time I know it's a failed breakdown, yeah? So here you can take longs, right? Or you can wait for a pullback into this area. See, this area, basically seller's area, they try to defend it right here, and then price broke out, so you can take a breakout, or you can wait for a pullback, right? And then you can see there was a pullback, double algo, right? You can go long here, and there you go, see that, and that's it. See, whatever happened after this was a news driven, Fed speaker was talking, and that's why price went down. So when price went down in this fashion, right, you should not be taking longs now. Yes, maybe you can try here if you want to, right? But once you, let's say, stopped out, that should be no long, because now you know this, all these buyers who basically bought it here, they are trapped, right? So you should be looking for shorts if you want to trade it, and you can see supply now came, enough supply, right, covering all this buying. So this was your short right into these levels, see that, these levels, see that, and then finally price closed right again back into this area, right? So did price achieve anything today? No, except playing around these areas, that's all. It's a ping pong game, you know, and that be all.